So this is the Wooddale Criterium from American Bicycle Racing, and it's the State Criterium Championship. I had a few teammates in this race with me, and I went into this race feeling pretty confident because a few weekends before I had managed to win the state road race jersey. Right from the start, you'll see one of my teammates go off the front, and I'm okay with this for a few reasons. One, you don't ever really chase a teammate unless it's just chasing an attack. Two, he's a guest rider. We had a couple guest riders from Columbia, and so I know that he isn't eligible to win the state championship jersey, so I'm okay with him going off the front. If I'm able to get other riders to try and chase him down and wear themselves out, that gives me a better chance of winning the championship. There was some pretty good firepower in this race as well, so I knew that I was going to have to watch a lot of moves and get ready to suffer. You can already see that the race is getting strung out because some other riders are anxious to try and reel my teammate back in. I used this opportunity to sit in and just preserve my legs. With a fair bit of wind all around the course, it was pretty important to stay tucked in the draft whenever you could. As Daniel pulls off here, you'll see that our speed decreases a fair amount. And I'm doing that on purpose because I know that I'm on the front. I should be trying to slow the rest of the race down to give Alex a bigger gap up the road. I'm not grabbing brakes or anything like that, but I am not pedaling as hard as I should be. Most of the other riders in the field know this as well, and you'll see an attack by Brian up the right side. It's a pretty strong attack. Luckily, I know that there are other riders who are going to try to bridge the attack as well, so I'm able to just grab onto wheels and not have to do any work. However, Brian's attack was a good one, and he's able to bridge up to my teammate. The rest of the field sees this and starts to work together to try and bring those two riders back. You can see that the breakaway isn't too far up the road, and we're still moving at a pretty good speed here, so it looks like we might bring them back in. As we round the next two corners, the break is close enough to where we know that it's smarter to bring it back than to let our rider sit out in the wind and suffer for no reason. Shortly after we catch them, our other guest rider attacks. And this was a perfect strategy because most of the field is going to be too tired to chase it immediately. And I still know that I can sit in because, again, he isn't eligible for the state jersey. By this point in the race, our rider has a big gap up the road, enough to where he can no longer be seen by the group. That's really good for us, as it often means that the group will be less incentivized to chase him down. There are a few riders that know his move has the very real chance of sticking, so a few attacks come through. You'll see I don't immediately respond, and that's because I see that two of my teammates are already following the move, which gives me the chance to just latch onto wheels as they come by and not really exert myself trying to stay on the attacker's wheel. The attacks really start coming on hard, and my team is doing a pretty good job of covering them, but it does take a bit of a toll on me, and you can see that my heart rate is already towards my upper threshold. I see one of my teammates on the wheel of the attack and make the mistake of thinking that it's just going to come back like the rest of them did. As we move up the small hill and come around towards the front straight, the group has a small gap. I think it's fine and begin to move backwards to recover a bit. About a lap later, I realize my mistake. Although I do have a teammate up the road and a teammate in the chase group, there are also two riders who are going to be able to take the state championship in that chase group as well. Looking back at this race, I was in a tough spot. Do I chase my teammate that's in the group and risk bridging the entire rest of the race up to them, or do I wait for the rest of the race to play out and just try and win the field sprint? In the end, I decided that I really shouldn't chase my teammates and risk their results just for my desire to get another jersey, as much as I really wanted it. With only a handful of laps to go, my good friend Dominic puts in a massive attack. I'm able to see it coming before he passes me, but he's really throwing down the watts, and I know that I can't let that move go. So I chase and push and just hope that there will be a few other riders with me to help bring the move back. Luckily, just as I start to peter off the front, the group comes around me at speed and looking pretty determined to catch them as well. It takes the group about a lap and a half, and we're still spread out quite a bit here, but it looks like we've managed to catch the move and everything is going to come back together. You can see that riders are being spit off the back left and right, so I have to keep the power up and jump the gaps to try and make it back to the bigger group. At this point though, everything is splintered and no one is working cohesively. The move was able to stay slightly off the front, so it's really important for the few riders near each other to work together and try and bring back those riders ahead. Slowly but surely it begins to happen as riders catch their second wind, but at this point now, it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. With most of the group back together, but the second chase up the road, I know that I need to either try to bridge up or bring it back with the group. And I can see that they're still relatively close, so I think with just the tiniest bit of help that we might be able to bring them back. I put in a really hard effort and stay up front charging towards that group and hoping that someone else is going to come around to help to bring them back because we're so close to catching them. Unfortunately, no one does, and they start to slide away again. A few laps later, and with one to go, it's pretty clear that we're not going to be bringing anyone else back. So I prepare to try and win the field sprint. Right here, I'm in a pretty good position, and I've got a teammate's wheel to sit on, so I'm feeling comfortable in this spot. Joe comes up alongside me and lets me know that he's going to jump a bit early, mostly because he's just a super cool guy. I get ready and I watch for the move, because I know it's going to be a big one, and that if I can maintain and perhaps jump off his wheel, I should be able to beat the rest of the field. Joe jumps hard, and it takes me a minute to get on his wheel, but once I do, I'm feeling good, and I'm able to slingshot around the last two corners at speed and push myself hard to stay off the front. With about 200 meters to go, I look back and I see that I have a pretty comfortable lead, maintaining my effort to the line, and I sit up and I'm able to nab 8th overall. Our two guest riders were able to take 1st overall and I believe 4th overall, which is a pretty good result for the team. So I'm glad I rode how I did. However, it was a bit of a bummer that I wasn't able to get the 2nd state jersey. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to see more videos from me every week, click subscribe.